Really good shot. Let's watch how he reacts. Mikey is still there, phone in hand, still filming, still texting, still talking. Charlie is about to be killed. Mikey's still standing loyally by, right there. And then let's watch him walk away. So he goes behind it, and he comes out right here. He just walks away.
It started with a single comment, one that wasn't meant to detonate, but did. In the middle of an ordinary podcast episode, Joe Rogan leaned toward his mic and said, almost casually, "There's a mind-blowing video connected to Charlie Kirk's team. Something that shouldn't even exist." That one sentence cracked open the internet. Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. Looped on TikTok, dissected on Reddit, replayed on YouTube by 100 different commentators, each claiming they knew the truth. Tweets flooded in by the second. Hashtags trended across continents, and speculation spread faster than anyone could contain it. What was in the video? Who sent it to Rogan? And why did he look uneasy when he said it? By the time morning came, the mystery had outgrown the man who started it. Bloggers called it the leak that could bring down an empire. Fans called it proof. Skeptics called it fiction. But one thing was certain. The comment had shaken the line between rumor and revelation. And now the world was watching to see which side of it would break first. Two men, two empires, and one sentence that connected them in a way neither could escape. On one side stood Joe Rogan, the voice of the internet's unfiltered conscience. A man who'd built his kingdom, not on polish or propaganda, but on conversation, chaos, and curiosity. Millions tuned in to hear him question everything. Government, media, power, even the truth itself. He was the outsider who became the oracle, the guy who said what others were too afraid to think out loud. On the other side was Charlie Kirk, the architect of a different kind of influence. His world was discipline, order, precision. Every speech rehearsed, every image tested, every post designed to hit exactly the right nerve. He didn't question the system, he built one. And that system had turned into one of the most controlled media machines in modern politics. Their worlds weren't supposed to overlap. Rogan represented the chaos of free thought. Kirk represented the comfort of control. But when Rogan mentioned that mysterious video, that one mind-blowing clip supposedly tied to Kirk's team, their spheres collided. And in that collision, something snapped. Suddenly, Rogan's followers were analyzing Kirk's videos, looking for inconsistencies, patterns, hidden signals. Kirk's defenders were attacking Rogan, calling him irresponsible, manipulative, a tool for disinformation warfare. It didn't matter that no one had seen the video. The belief in it was already powerful enough to start a digital war. Two men who'd never shared a stage were now bound by a rumor too big to contain. One spoke a sentence. The other watched his empire tremble because of it. And for the first time, both sides of the internet, the curious and the faithful, found themselves staring at the same question. What was in that video? And why did Joe Rogan look like he wished he'd never mentioned it? The moment itself was almost nothing, a flicker in a 3-hour conversation, buried between laughter and tangents. Joe Rogan wasn't trying to break the internet, he was just talking. But then his tone shifted. He leaned back, squinted slightly, and said, "Someone sent me this video from inside Charlie Kirk's team, and it's absolutely insane." The studio went quiet for a beat, as if even his guests didn't know how to respond. Then Rogan smiled, that half-joking, half-serious look that tells you he's seen something he shouldn't have, and changed the subject. But it was too late. The internet had already caught it. Within hours, that single line was clipped, uploaded, slowed down, and dissected like a crime scene. Commentators debated his tone. Reddit users swore they saw discomfort in his eyes. Theories multiplied by the minute. Some said it was footage of Kirk's team scripting fake emotional moments for social media. Others claimed it showed private conversations that could destroy careers. Nobody had seen the clip, yet everyone talked like they had. The mystery wasn't in the video, it was in Rogan's hesitation. That pause between words became the spark that ignited everything. And in the age of viral truth, hesitation is all it takes for the world to assume you've seen something real. Once Rogan's clip went viral, the internet did what it always does, it filled in the blanks. Within hours, social media turned speculation into scripture. Self-proclaimed insiders claimed to know exactly what was in the mysterious footage. And each new theory was more unbelievable than the last. One rumor said the video showed Charlie Kirk's senior staff arguing behind closed doors, admitting that their online image was calculated outrage, emotion scripted, faith rehearsed. Another claimed it caught them planning fake viral moments, rehearsing tears for the cameras, practicing sincerity like it was stagecraft. Then came the darker theory that it wasn't a strategy meeting at all, but something personal. something Kirk's team would burn the internet to keep hidden. A single screenshot began circulating. Allegedly taken from the video, a blurred shot of a laptop screen with the name Erica visible at the top. That one image launched an avalanche of gossip, tying the mystery to old scandals and buried rumors. News channels called it unverified. Fans called it proof. But no one could confirm anything, because no one had seen the clip, not even Rogan's own team. Still, that didn't matter. The story had gone beyond facts now. In the echo chamber of the internet, belief was evidence, and every theory, no matter how wild, made the videos seem more real. The truth didn't have to exist anymore. The idea of it was enough to set the world on fire. The morning after Rogan's remark, the web was on fire. Within hours, hashtags like #RoganLeak, #KirkVideo, and #mindblowingclip covered every platform, turning the story into a digital riot. Twitter threads read like investigations. TikTok creators staged reenactments of the mysterious meeting. YouTubers posted frame-by-frame breakdowns of Rogan's expression, swearing they saw fear in his eyes. Memes flooded timeline screenshots of Rogan's raised eyebrow captioned, "When you know something, the world shouldn't." News outlets scrambled to fact-check, but every denial only made the rumor stronger. Influencers weighed in, reaction channels exploded, and even late-night hosts couldn't resist joking about the missing video that broke politics. What had begun as a sentence on a podcast had mutated into a global obsession, half conspiracy, half entertainment, and no one could stop it. The story was now alive, feeding on clicks, speculation, and outrage. In a world addicted to chaos, the truth had become irrelevant. The storm itself was the spectacle. Behind the polished curtains of Charlie Kirk's media empire, panic had already set in. The moment Rogan's comment hit viral status, the command came down fast: go dark. Phones were confiscated, group chats deleted, and staff instructed to say nothing, post nothing. Publicly, the team issued a brief statement calling the video fake and malicious. But privately, insiders described the mood as pure chaos. Meetings stretched late into the night, with PR strategists arguing over whether to deny harder or disappear completely. Several employees quietly wiped their social media profiles, removing any trace of affiliation. Sponsors began calling for clarity. Donors demanded reassurance. And journalists camped outside the building waiting for anyone to speak. But Kirk's camp held the line of silence, hoping the noise would burn itself out. It didn't. Every hour without an explanation only deepened the suspicion. The world wasn't watching for answers anymore. It was watching for cracks. And inside those glass offices, even the most loyal voices were starting to whisper that the real story might be worse than the rumor. When the silence from Charlie Kirk's camp dragged on too long, the hunt for the leaker began. Theories spread through message boards like sparks in dry grass, each claiming to know who had slipped the video to Rogan. Some swore it was a low-level producer, someone invisible, who had watched too many lies pile up and finally snapped. Others pointed to a rival network, whispering that the leak was a setup, engineered to fracture Kirk's empire from the inside. But the story that captured the internet's imagination was darker. That the video hadn't been stolen at all, it had been sent. A calculated move by someone inside the machine who wanted the truth to burn everything down. Anonymous accounts posted cryptic messages. It wasn't a hack. It was a message. Before deleting themselves minutes later, journalists chased trails that vanished into encrypted inbox. A former staffer told one outlet, trembling, "We were told the walls have ears." Maybe they did. The question shifted from who leaked it to why Rogan. If the footage was meant to destroy, why deliver it to the one man who could guarantee everyone would hear it? By the time Rogan finally broke his silence again, the idea of a single whistleblower had dissolved into something larger, a ghost network, a system turning on itself. And whether the leak came from revenge, conscience, or strategy, one thing was certain: the empire's greatest weakness hadn't come from its enemies. It had come from the people who built it. By the time the truth, or something that looked like it, finally surfaced, it was already too late. The empire had cracked. Charlie Kirk's once flawless media machine, built on confidence and control, was unraveling live in front of millions. Sponsors quietly withdrew their deals. Donors stopped returning calls. A dozen employees resigned within days, their statements eerily identical. No comment. The organization's official accounts went eerily silent, their last post frozen in time, like a ghost of its former glory. Meanwhile, fragments of the alleged video began resurfacing on obscure sites, grainy clips, muffled audio, distorted faces, each one fueling the fire. Whether real or fake, the damage was the same. The public didn't care about proof anymore. The illusion had already shattered. For the first time, Kirk's polished speeches looked rehearsed instead of inspiring. The laughter in his interviews felt forced, the faith in his followers flickering. Even allies distanced themselves, whispering that he'd lost control of the narrative. Inside the headquarters, paranoia turned colleagues into suspects. Every conversation was a potential leak, every silence a confession. The empire that had thrived on unity was now devouring itself. And the only sound left in the echo of its collapse was the question no one could answer. How much of the story had ever been true at all? When the frenzy finally began to cool, all eyes turned back to the man who had started it. For weeks Joe Rogan had stayed silent, watching from the sidelines as speculation devoured the headlines. Then, in a new episode streamed to millions, he leaned into the mic and said simply, "You guys made this bigger than it ever was." His voice was calm but tired, the sound of someone who'd witnessed a story spin far beyond intent. He talked about how information doesn't spread anymore, it erupts. How a single remark can mutate into myth before the facts even surface. He didn't confirm or deny the video's existence. Instead, he said, "The reaction told me more than the footage ever could." People wanted it to be true because they're done believing anyone's clean. Listeners fell silent. The comments section split between those calling him the last honest broadcaster and those accusing him of orchestrating the chaos for views. But Rogan didn't flinch. He closed the segment with a line that would echo through the aftermath of the scandal. "Maybe the video's gone. Maybe it was never real. But once an idea gets out, you can't delete it." And just like that, the mic clicked off, leaving the audience staring into the static of their own curiosity, still wondering what he had really seen, and what he'd chosen not to show. The microphones were off, the lights dimmed, but the echo of that one line refused to die. Online, the story had already turned into legend, half truth, half myth, fully alive. People whispered about encrypted drives, deleted files, and a second video that no one was supposed to find. Every few weeks, a screenshot or clip would resurface, reigniting the debate. Was it real, or was it all a setup? No one could say for sure anymore. What started as a rumor had evolved into something larger, an idea, a warning. Because in the age of infinite screens, exposure doesn't end when the footage disappears. It begins the moment people start believing. You can delete a video, but you can't delete what people saw. The frame cuts to black. A faint hum of static lingers, followed by a single, chilling ping, the sound of a new message arriving. Mind-blowing video part 2 coming soon. Because in this story, every secret leads to another. Like, comment, and subscribe for the next investigation, because sometimes, the truth isn't what's revealed, it's what gets erased.